How do y'all like my shirt? Hi everyone, my name is Courtney. Welcome back to my channel. So happy you are here. As you can see by the title, today we're going to talk about 5 misconceptions in self-publishing. Let's go ahead and start off by saying that these are my personal opinions. There may be more or less or some that you disagree with. If you're new here, I have been around the self-publishing realm since about 2011. I self-published my first novel in 2014, and since then I've published over 20 books. So I kind of got an opinion about it. I've just seen things lately that just make me want to talk about it, so I thought that we would come here and I would give you kind of insight to the things that I've seen, along with comments as to why I think those are misconceptions. To be clear, there are outliers to every part of the publishing industry, from editors to cover designers to traditional published authors to self-published authors. So to get that out there, I know that some people really do these things. I just don't think that it is the majority of self-published authors out there. If there are any points that you think I am completely off the mark with, leave a comment below. I would love to chat with you about it and have a conversation and see what you're thinking. So regardless of what my shirt says, the comment section is always open and I try to reply back to everyone who leaves a comment. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Self-published authors do not hire editors or cover designers. It is a complete do-it-yourself option to publishing. I disagree with this for many reasons, because a lot of the self-published authors that I have seen on the internet who have been successful, who consider this more of a career than a hobby, hire editors. You can go on Amazon right now and you can check the top 100 and find the self-published books, and more than likely they're going to have an editor on their copyright page. Like I said, there's outliers to everything. Some people may not hire editors or cover designers. I think the majority of people who are taking this seriously really do. There's always that one person who's like, I don't read self-published authors because that one time, like 8 years ago, I read a self-published book and it was riddled with errors. Those people kind of annoy me because of the fact that self-publishing was new back in 2009, and I think that the level that most are at now are actually trying to be a little bit more professional. People hire editors, people hire professional cover designers. Now in 2019, I think that you kind of have to do that if you want to be taken seriously and you want to compete in this market. I think that self-publishing isn't really a do-it-yourself type of thing. It's more of a direct it yourself type of thing. And when I say that, I mean hiring people. Like, you manage your own team, you manage your cover designer, you manage your editor, you manage your publicist, you manage all these different aspects, but you have people helping you along the way. In the beginning, it's normal for self-published authors to be more of the do-it-yourself mindset, but I still think and I firmly believe that if you are at the very beginning of your self-publishing career, 2 things that you should not ever skimp on two things is your editor and your cover designer. The other things, you can do it yourself. You can do your cover reveals and your marketing and all of that stuff yourself, and that's how I learned how to do it. I don't believe you should skimp on those 2 things. I think they're super important if you want to compete and be taken seriously. So if you take any advice from this video, hire an editor that knows what they're doing and get a professional cover designer so then you can fit in among the other books in your genre. Number 2, this one's 2-parted because I've seen it go both ways and they're very contradictory. So number 2A is, if you self-publish, you can make a lot of money and you do not have to share your royalties with somebody. The flip side of that, 2B, is if you self-publish, you'll never make any money and you'll just have to spend a fortune up front. So to cover both of those points at the same time, it is not guaranteed that if you self-publish, you are gonna make a ton of money. And it is not guaranteed if you self-publish that you're gonna lose a lot of money. I know people who have made, I'm not kidding, 7 figures on their books. They really made that money. I also know people on the other end of the spectrum who has not broken even on any book that they've ever published. And then you have people who are in the middle who make money on their books, but maybe they don't make enough money to quit their job and it's a supplement to their current income. So there's just different points in the spectrum. I also don't like it when people say, oh, well, you know, with self-publishing, you can make so much more money. That's so not true. Like I said, I know know people who have not ever made their money back that they've put into their books. I think with self-publishing, you can make money a little faster than you can with traditional publishing, because I know that some publishers pay on a quarterly or semi-annually basis, and there's like different milestones that you have to reach before you get paid if you have an advance, and there's all these like intricate details that is in contracts. I mean, everybody's contract is different. With self-publishing, after 60 days of being on Amazon, you get paid. You have to wait for Amazon or Apple to pay you. And if people tell you that you get to keep 100% of the profits, that's not true either. These people who distribute your books take a cut of your money. So if you think you're gonna 100% keep your $2.99 or $3.99 or $4.99 or whatever you're pricing your book at, that is not true. If it's over $2.99 on the distributors, they typically take about 30%. If you are under $2.99, they typically take 70%. So all of the self-published authors out there who have their books at 99 cents, guys, they're making 30 cents for every copy that they sell. And so don't think that that author is getting your full dollar, because they are not. When you traditional publish, they pay those fees too. So you have to keep that in mind. Like, it's not a get rich quick scheme. And I don't think that it is something where you're just gonna waste your money either. You have to be very strategic and smart with what you spend your money on, and you have to market. But that is with either way that you publish. So I think it's just important to understand fully what you're getting yourself into. I don't think that there is a dead set, you're gonna make money or you're gonna lose money. I think it all depends on what you're publishing, when you're publishing it, how great your book is, and your entire package of your book. So there's a lot of different things that go into make up that. But when people say self-publish, you'll make more money, I don't know if that's true. Or you better not self-publish, you're gonna lose all this money. I don't know if that's true either. So I consider them both misconceptions because it's different for everybody. Number 3, if you self-publish, it's really hard to get an agent or go the traditional publishing route. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. The reason why I don't believe that is because we have an agent for our self-published works who does our sub-rights. We've gotten our books translated into different languages. We've gotten audiobook deals. We've had paperback distribution deals. I don't think that it's harder to get an agent whenever you are looking at self-publishing as a career writer instead of as a hobby writer. I think that if you are branded and you take it seriously and you put your best product out there, I think that it could really help you with agents. I could be off by that, but I know people who have ranked top 100 on Amazon who have been contacted directly by agents who weren't even searching for agents, but these people reached out to them and saw that they had talent and was like, hey, I love your book, I love your work, I love what you're doing, I would love to represent you and bring this to the next level. So I think that if you go at it as I need to put my best foot forward 100% of the time, I don't think it's harder to get an agent. I think that that is a misconception. I also don't believe though that if you were self-published, then you just automatically know everything about publishing world and you will just automatically get an agent. I don't think that that happens either. But I don't think that it is harder to get an agent. Like you have this black X on your face canceling you out completely because you're self-published. I don't believe that. I think that if you have actually made lists or done really well, that it could possibly help you. I don't think it's going to be one of those things that really hurts you where agents are like, nope, you're self-published, so you chose your route and that's where you'll always be. There are a lot of hybrid authors out there. Eventually, I myself would like to become a hybrid author. There are a lot of very successful ones. There are a lot of hybrid authors that are just out there killing it. Just keep that in mind. Just because you decide to self-publish doesn't mean that you can't get an agent or you can't ever be traditionally published. It's not a roadblock for you. Doors are still 100% still open. Number 4. If you're a self-published author, you cannot get your books into bookstores. There are a lot of people on the internet that say things like, I want to go the traditional publishing route because I'd love to see my book in the bookstores. And that's their main reason for traditionally publishing. I would like to say that as a self-published author, you can get your books in bookstores. If you've got the sales, if you've got an amazing book, if you've got it on Ingram where you can actually let bookstores send books back if they do not sell, and that is a risk that you want to take, you can have your books in bookstores. I have actually confirmed this with my local Barnes & Noble. I spoke to someone and I said, hey, what do I need to do to get my books on these bookshelves? And they gave me a list of things. Basically, it needs to be on Ingram. They need to be able to sell it back if it doesn't sell. And essentially that was it. Create Space or KDP Print does not have the sell back. They are a print on demand company, so that's not a possibility. But if you are on Ingram and you have that expanded distribution on where you have buybacks or whatever it's called on there, you can actually get your books in bookstores. Bookstores can order them directly from their little supplier or whatever it is they use, and they can stock your books. So if you decide to go the self-publishing route and you are just like, man, it's like one of my bucket lists to see my books in Barnes & Noble, I don't think that dream is completely destroyed if you self-publish. There are people that I know who are self-published authors who have made New York Times. Being a self-published author, yes, that's right, they have made New York Times. Their books are in bookstores, which is super cool. I love seeing self-published authors on the shelf because those books, like, you cannot tell they are a self-published author. They fit in with the big four publishing houses, and if you are a reader and you are just glancing those shelves, you will think that a big publisher published that, when in reality, it's just a self-published author who's got the crap together. Just know that just because you're a self-published author doesn't mean your books cannot be in bookstores. That is not true. Also, if you go direct with Barnes & Noble and you upload your paperback there, you have your own ISBN. If you sell a lot of paperbacks, I have heard that their merchandising department will contact you and tell you that they would like to carry your books in their bookstores. So all hope is not lost. It is still doable as an indie author, guys, which is exciting. Last but not least, self-published authors publish quantity over quality and just don't care. They publish whatever. This one kind of strikes me a little bit. We need to discuss this whole quantity over quality thing. I understand that there are outliers. I opened this video with that. There are outliers to everything. In my personal situation and in many of the people that I know who are also publishing a lot, just because they have a lot of books being published doesn't mean that their quality is lacking. Guys, you can write books years ago, last year, and be ahead of the game and be working on totally different books at this point instead of writing deadline to deadline. There are authors out there that I am friends with on Facebook that are about 15 books ahead in their writing schedule. 15 books ahead. I'm not even kidding or exaggerating. It might be more at this point. It might be a tad less, but it's over 10, 100% ahead. So this person could essentially publish 10 books tomorrow. It doesn't mean that they wrote all those books right now to hurry up and publish them tomorrow. That's not how it works. Yes, I know that we have a lot of books publishing this year, but 2 of those we already had written. So that was last year's writing schedule. Right now we are releasing a lot of books. Our release schedule is kind of hectic, but we've fixed that and alleviated it just a tad by moving some release dates. But it doesn't mean that just because authors are publishing a lot that their quality is lacking, because you do not know what is happening behind the scenes. My personal process with Lyra Parish was to have critique partners, alpha readers, beta readers, self-editing through all of those steps. Then I would go through and read it again, let my computer read it out loud to me, hire my editor would get it, I would get it back, I would do the changes, I would send it to proofs, I would get it back, and then I would send it to one final person before I ever push publish for her to go through and read it again to make sure I didn't miss anything. It's no different with Kennedy Fox. We critique each other super hard. We go over each other's chapters constantly as we're writing. After it's written, we go through it again, and then we send it to alpha readers, we send it to beta readers, we go through it again, we send it to edits, it gets gone through again, it goes to edits again, it gets gone through again, and that's just the process. We go over it so much. I think the books that we just released, we probably went over it at least 15 times. I believe there were probably 15 drafts. And to me, if it was quantity over quality, then why even spend time going through that? Why even spend time going through beta readers, alpha readers, proofreaders, edits, any of those things, or to even self-edit? If it was quantity over quality, it would just be maybe sent to proofs and then published. Moving on to the next one, because the goal, if you're quantity over quality, is just to get more books out there. I don't believe that's true for career authors. I know a lot of people who are super successful at self-publishing that have the same type of process. They go over these books so much. I know people who hire developmental editors, who then hire a content editor, who then hires 2 proofreaders. And I don't think anybody who is concerned with how many books that they're releasing would go through all those steps and pay all that money if they didn't want their work to be quality. I do understand there are outliers. I do understand there are people that are in Kindle Unlimited who's just trying to get as many books out there as they can to grow their backlist. But the thing is that these books live forever. If you are taking this seriously and you're viewing this as a career, you're trying to publish the best book that you can right now, at the way that you are right now, at the skill that you are right now in your career. And those books live forever. And so it's so important to put your best foot forward. There may be authors out there who are publishing a lot, but just because they're publishing a lot doesn't mean that they are not working hard behind the scenes to make sure that their books are at a high quality. So that assumption, I feel like, is 100% not true. It may be true for some authors, but for people who are career authors, I just don't believe that is the case. So there we go, guys. That is the 5 misconceptions that I've seen with self-publishing. If you have any questions or if you want to chat about it, feel free to leave them down below in the comments section. I hope that you really enjoyed this video. Don't forget to do all that stuff that the YouTubers tell you to do. And I hope that you all have a productive week. You write all the words, and I'll see you again in my next video.